Kendo Podcast by KendoGuy.com. This is Hiro Imafuji, and thank you for listening Kendo Podcast Episode 3. This podcast is very laid back, easygoing, and I want to talk anything about Kendo through my experience and through maybe your experiences as well. So please contact me from kendo-guide.com. In episode 2, we talked about lifting hands or moving our hands because we can't take the pressure from our opponent anymore. Because your opponent's seme or pressure is so strong, you want to block yourself or you want to defend yourself. You feel pressure. Your opponent doesn't even move, but you feel something, so you don't want to stay in that position anymore. So that's why you move your hands. And we used to, my generation at least, we were told if you move your, especially left hand, up, your mind is moved as well. That means your opponent's pressure is so strong, so your mind reacted to it. That means you tend to lose. Okay, so that means you are feeling pressure from your opponent, and your mind is still weak. I should say that. Now, your mind is still weak because you want to defend yourself. Okay, so that's what it means. So, and then I suggested that you should pay attention to your hands while you're doing jigeko in your training. Okay, and I wanted to know how it went, so please email me if you tried. Well, if you haven't, please try that. If you try to feel what you do when you feel pressure from your opponent. Okay. All right. So that episode reminded me about this jigeko between two ninth dan sensei, and the story goes like this. Two ninth dan sensei studied jigeko, and all you could hear between them was typical kendo sound. Sound of shinai. And you could hear the sound of footwork as well. For a long time, they didn't execute any techniques, just sound of shinai and sound of footwork, and of course some kiai as well. And then all of the sudden, one of the sensei stopped and said, "I've lost." Of course, if you don't know what's going on, or if you're just watching and go, "What's going on?" And the answer, what do you think was going on? Why he said, "I've lost," because even he didn't get hit. The reason was the other sensei took his center. In Kendo, we are told to beat our opponent even before we execute any technique. So that means you have to take center and you have to put pressure on your opponent so he can't or she can't do anything about it. And basically you corner your opponent. Okay, not literally, maybe sometimes literally, but mentally you corner your opponent so they can't do anything, and then you execute strike. So it's related to the hands, lifting their hands up. So you put pressure, and then they start moving, jumpy. They start like jumpy, and their hands start moving a lot. So that means your seme is very effective. And if you take center then, and they can't do anything, and you execute your strike, theoretically you can get a point or you can hit the target. Okay, but even before you execute, if you take center and you corner your opponent, you've already won that match. So this ninth dan sensei jigeko is a good example of that. Someone took the center of his center, and then, oh man, I can't do anything anymore. I've lost. So I think that is the beauty of Kendo. It is very important, like, you know, result oriented versus process oriented, if you want to categorize those two. You know, result oriented, you hit a target. Actually, it's like getting a point. You hit a target, otherwise, it doesn't mean anything. Versus, you don't have to hit a target. You take the center, put enough pressure on your opponent, and your opponent couldn't do anything. Okay, so that's the beauty of Kendo, and also that is kind of interesting part of Kendo. That interests me. I was told to do Kendo like that. Of course, it's hard to do, and I don't think I can do that. But that is the ideal Kendo I was told to aim at. And um, in that sense, if you think about kata number one, kata number two, kata number three, kata number one, you kill your opponent. Uchitachi, shitachi kills uchitachi. Uchitachi, cuts the head. That means the death. So you have to kill your opponent. And kata number two, you don't kill, but you hurt your opponent. You cut your opponent's kote. And he can still live, they can still live, but you have to hurt them to stop the fight. But kata number three, you don't kill anyone, you don't hurt anyone, but you just put pressure on your opponent and walk away. So that's kata number three. And this is the late Inoue sensei, Inoue Yoshihiko sensei, told his students, and Alex Bennett sensei from Kendo World magazine, he told us when I was in New Zealand. So that's how I was lucky to know about that when I was young. So Kendo is not about killing. We don't have to kill each other. We don't have to hurt each other. If you're strong enough, you just put pressure on your opponent and then just walk away. We can live together. So that is a part of Kendo. We live together because we are the members of the community. We have to build the community strong together. So that is the beauty of Kendo, and that is the message we should deliver to another generation, next generation. So I strongly believe that, and that's the ideal Kendo. And so the process is valued in Kendo, probably in Japanese society as well. If the process is good, results should be good. Like if the result is good, it doesn't matter the process. That's not good. So I think that is really good example of what kind of Kendo we should aim at. So I think that is really great story about the senseis, 99 senseis, Jigeko, and that's what we can learn from this Jigeko. And also, when next time you practice kata, please feel that, okay, I'm gonna let you go. I'm not gonna kill you. So let's live together. So that is kata number three. Okay, thank you for listening, and please do let me know what stories or what kind of topic you want me to talk about and what you want to hear. All right, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next episode.